guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for all the likes and comments I received on my last video, and I'm so grateful for all the support that you guys have been giving me. So if you liked that last video and have liked all the previous videos that I have filmed, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm so grateful for all my supporters and all the people who have commented and liked my videos so far. And if you have a video idea that you would like me to do, I would be absolutely happy to film it for you. I mentioned this in my previous video, but I would just like to remind everyone that this month is Maas month on the Live in Literature channel. And Maas month is going to be celebrating all things Sarah J Maas because her new book, A Court of Silver Flames, is coming out February 16th. And I'll be doing an entire month dedicated to her books
and all the things that she's written thus far and all the things that I love about her.
So if you are interested in participating in Maas month, please stick around for the month of February and feel free to share this video with your friends. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my January wrap-up, which is basically talking about all of the books that I've read this month and giving you my opinions, my likes, my dislikes, and the review of the book out of 5 stars.
This is the worst book ever written in English.
So when I review a book, I usually stick between the 1 to 5 star rating. I usually don't go to 10 because I feel like if I have 10, that's like too much. Like, I just feel like it's like too much like balance in between. I will do a video someday giving you like my 10 star like book review, basically saying like these are the books that receive all the awards.
I see you have been given the Medal of Honor and knighthood.
But I'll be honest, like when I write it in my like little like notepad on my phone, like of what kind of review I give a book, I usually like, if it's a really good book, I'll like say like 1,000,000 stars. Which you're like, that breaks the scale, but like, yeah, it's my review system, so I can do what I want, okay? It's just how it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But overall, it's gonna be a really fun video. I'm excited to talk about the books that I read, so let's get into it. So these are all the books that I read in the month of January. There's going to be 5 books to review, and I'm going to start from least favorite to favorite. But once again, I genuinely enjoyed everything that I read this month in one way or another. I just have some that I've liked more than others. And so I'll be reviewing from least favorite to favorite in this review, and let's get started. So the first book I'm going to be talking about, and actually I'm going to be talking about 2 books right now because they're from the same series, is Bloodleaf and Greythorn by Crystal Smith. And this is a fairly new series that just came out. I would say it's fairly new. It came out in like what? I don't know. It came out at a time.
I know nothing, Oliver.
So the first book in this series, Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith, is about a girl named Ariella who is technically a witch in this land of people who don't like witches and don't like magic and think it's evil. And so there's a group of people called the Tribunal, which is basically like, they're kind of like the holy order of this land, who are after to execute and destroy all of people with magic or who are witches, quote unquote. And so since she was a little child, she's been betrothed to this other man in a foreign kingdom to be married to him. And one day there's an assassination attempt, and she ends up revealing her magic to all these people. And so she's forced to flee before the tribunal can catch her. And as she flees to this other city, she's trying to find the crown prince of another kingdom because technically they're betrothed. So basically she becomes entangled in this plot to take down the tribunal and figure out what's going wrong in this other city that she's been forced to flee to.
That was a little weird.
Yeah, overall I enjoyed this book. I think that Ariella's character is someone who you are rooting for the whole time. It's somebody you're fighting for because she's so like she's kind of shy, slightly awkward, a little cold at first until you get to know her. It's very interesting. And she's not like a typical, I would say, YA heroine, because I feel like typical YA heroines are slightly different. They're a little bit more bold, a little more brash, which honestly, like I relate to that side a little bit more than I relate to this side.
And I'll be shitting for my own hat.
But I found her character really interesting because it's not someone you get to read about very often. Some things I liked about this book. I liked that the book was fast-paced. I liked that the book had pretty decent writing. I would say that the characters were well likable and people that you wanted to like figure out and understand. I would say that things that I didn't love about this book were the romance aspect. I thought
You know me, I'm a sucker for romance.
I'm a sucker for you.
I need a good romance, and I felt like
The romance was kind of forced and a little bit rushed. I felt like our two leads didn't really have like very much of like a connection between them.
I feel connected.
And I wanted them to be really connected, and I felt like it was just kind of forced and like not really like thought out and like really well planned into the book. This book is definitely more focused on the political and like adventurous aspects of the world, which I do appreciate and enjoy. I really like that. But I thought the romance felt forced and like it was kind of thrown together as a last ditch effort. Nevertheless, I did enjoy this book. I decided that when I rated the book, I gave it 3 stars out of 5 for being, it was a good read, a fun read, but not a read that I would like highly like suggest to everyone just because it wasn't the most interesting thing I've ever read.
Not bad, kid. Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
But I did enjoy most aspects of this book and thought that it was a story that was worth telling. The second book in the Bloodleaf series is called Greythorn, and I really enjoyed this book. I thought that it was really interesting. I thought that it was
very intriguing and twisty and very unexpected.
This one had a lot more twists and turns than the first one did. I was not expecting half of the things that happened in this book.
You spin my head right.
Truly, I was very blown away by the way that that Crystal Smith was able to like plan ahead in how she was going to write this book. This book is very like telling of how smart that she is, and how creative and thoughtful of a writer that she is. To give you a quick plot summary of this one.
Hey guys, Olivia here, just editing the video. Sorry about all the freeze frames. I just had a thought that I actually can't tell you what the plot summary of this book is because it will ruin what happens from the first book into this book, and so I actually can't give you a plot summary of like what goes down in this book. But I hope you will enjoy my review nonetheless, and I hope you continue to enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.
So this book was really interesting because it had a lot of twists and turns. It was very well thought out and very methodical. It gives you a lot of insight into how far ahead the author is thinking in this book, and I was not expecting half of the things that happened. Truly, it was
Insane, like some of the stuff that happened.
That was totally wicked.
The very end of this book is kind of like what makes the book for me. The very end of the book was the climax of it all. It was totally mind-boggling. I was not expecting anything to happen. Really, really unexpected. I'll be honest, the reading through the book itself was very frustrating because of half of the things that the characters were doing. I was very frustrated by people's motivations for actions that they were taking. I was frustrated by Ariella and like why she was reacting the way that she was to certain people in certain situations.
I hate your stinking guts.
I was very like unmotivated by her and like didn't really have much pity or sympathy for her character.
Whoa.
Up until the very end when it like everything basically just like clicked into place and you were just like, whoa, this is what it's been like the whole time, and I was not expecting it at all. So it was super crazy. I would still rate this book 3 stars out of 5 because it reminded me of the first one in that it was like it's well paced, it's fun to read. It's not like the greatest thing I've ever read in my entire life, but it was really fun still and I enjoyed it. I think that the third book is going to be amazing to tie it all together, but I will be reading the third book. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm sure it's going to be great. And that's my review for this one. The next book I'm going to talk about for my January wrap up is called Fable by Adrienne Young. It's Fable, and Fable was
Amazing.
I absolutely loved this book. I am so excited for book 2. Book 2 is going to be literally insane. It's going to be amazing. I literally cannot wait.
But here's a quick plot summary of the book Fable. This book, Fable, is about a girl named Fable.
It's okay. You can laugh. It's funny.
Who's 17 years old and gets abandoned on an island when she's 14 by her father, who's captain of this shipping group in the Narrows, which is this like big like pirate trading group. And she's left for dead basically by her father, and for 4 years she's plotting her revenge and how to get back to him and basically earn her way back to becoming by his side and finding him again. Basically, she runs into some trouble while she's on the island, and she has to ask one of the people at the trading port named Captain West if he will take her on as a passenger on his ship and take her to where her father is. And the story is so fun. If you love pirate books, this is definitely a pirate book to read.
Why is the rum always gone?
I'll be honest, I'm kind of a sucker for pirate books as well. I think they're really fun. I think that shipping stories are really interesting when people are like fighting on ships and it's very much like pirate-esque. This book was awesome. I love Adrienne Young. She's so talented. She knows how to create really complex characters with really interesting backstories. To give you kind of like my review of the book, I thought the writing was really strong. I thought that the characters were, once again, they were interesting and diverse and likable. And also, like, I should probably mention that when I say a character is likable, I don't mean that they have to be like,
I'm the best person ever and I'm like nice to everyone, man.
I'm tour guide Barbie.
No.
I just mean like they're likable in that I want to see them succeed and I want to fight for them and I want to like see what happens with them, if that makes any sense. So like a character can be evil, but I can find them a likable character in that I'm like, wow, like they're a complex character. Like
I'm scared of them, but like I am like rooting for what's going on here. Like I know you're evil and I'm like against you, but I'm also like with you because you're so freaking like terrible and we're the worst, you know?
The things that I really liked about the book is I really liked the world building. I thought it was a really interesting world. I loved the places that they went to and the different types of like traveling that they did. I thought it was really interesting. I thought that she was well descriptive. Some things that I didn't love about this one. It's hard for me to say because I really love Adrienne Young, but once again, I thought the romance was a little bit too rushed.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
And it's a similar thing that happened in Bloodleaf. I thought the romance was just like a little bit too like rushed into it. It felt kind of forced. It felt kind of like they weren't trying very hard to like understand each other, the two mains that get together. And I was just kind of disappointed because I wanted their story to be so like ingrained and so like I wanted it to be like embedded like into my skin.
We scare because we care.
Like I just wanted it to be like a deep relationship. And I just felt like it was kind of shallow.
Especially for a book about sea stuff. Like I wanted to be.
I wanted their love to be as bottomless and as like be as like full of depth as the ocean, as some would say. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't want a kiddie pool romance. I wanted like deepest depths of the ocean kind of romance. And
If, however, your feelings have changed, I would have to tell you. You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love you.
I felt like I was only getting kind of like in the kiddie pool. Like I feel like we were only like just touching the surface of where their love could have gone. But I will say it is very well written for what it is. I felt like it was very emotional. It also does follow the trope of group of misfits going to do a thing. And I'm just a sucker for that trope. I really love it. I think it's super great. And this book also is kind of like an enemies to lovers romance, which
once again, my favorite kind of romance. It's kind of the best.
So this book kind of has it all. And I'm a really big fan of this book. I thought it was great. My full review of this one, I gave it 4 stars out of 5. I think it's a great book. I would recommend it to everyone. It just wasn't quite at my peak where I gave it a 5-star review. But this is a very, very good book, and I'm very happy that I read it. And so I hope that you guys will enjoy it too. The next book I want to talk about is called Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. And this was
such a good book.
Deal with the Elf King is about a girl named Luella who lives in a village that's near lives in a village that's near the elves' home, but it's through a magic veil and you can't get through there. Elves have been coming into their territory to take one girl every 100 years to become the queen of the elves and basically provide power for the elves' land. And Luella is chosen from her village, not knowing that she's supposed to be the human queen to the elves, and she's chosen by the king himself. The name of this foreign land that she's taken to, full of elves, is called Midscape, and she finds out that it's dying and they don't know why. And so she and the Elf King decide to work together to figure out why the land is dying. And so Deal with the Elf King was fabulous. I absolutely love this book. This is a great enemies to lovers romance. I thoroughly enjoy a good enemies to lovers romance. I'll be honest, the cover of the book is a slightly off-putting with how he looks. Sorry, Elf King. I don't love this cover art of him. I think it makes him look really freaking old and kind of creepy. I swear he's hot. This cover art is like not my favorite. But like, just try to ignore the cover, like him on the cover. Like I know that he's like kind of freaky looking. Just like you can picture someone better. Over here, I'll put someone better, like that you can imagine instead of him on the cover. Yeah, okay. Loved Luella's character. I thought that she was amazing. So her character, she's like a nurse and essentially like the healer of her town and her village. So Luella's character like was always being questioned, and the whole time she's like fighting against the Elf King because she's like, you don't understand. Like, I have been like training to do this my whole life. Like, you just ripped me away from my life. Like, how could you do this to me? And the Elf King is like, dude, you should have been preparing for this for 100 years. I'm supposed to come and get you. This was how it was always supposed to be. Like, what are you doing? And so they're always fighting. Like, they're fighting for a good portion of it. And I love when they've like, when they come to resolve their differences and like figure out like what's going on with this like city and like why it's dying. And
somebody better be dying. I'm dying.
To give you my likes and dislikes about the book. So, things that I really liked about this book. I loved the romance. I thought that it was well thought out, well like thought through. I thought it was a romance that was built from the ground up, because I feel like with the last couple of books that I just talked about, the relationships were always like they've kind of like started already with the foundation, and so like they just had to put a couple things on, add a couple of like fixings in like the living room, and like then they're done, and like that's it. Like they're like, look, it's the house, and I'm like, but where's all like the grit? Where's like the hard work? Where's like the little details and like the gritty like foundation? You know what I'm talking about? You know, like it's not just all about like the lamps and the couches and like all the little fixings. You know, you just like
miss like the big gritty details.
And this book has that. This book, you can tell like this relationship is built from the ground up, which I love. Some things that I didn't like about this book though, I will say, unlike the other ones, where this one is concerned, this one was mostly focused on the relationship, and it wasn't as focused on like the questing aspect of figuring out why Midscape is dying. It's like I can't win. Like in those books that I read, their romance was kind of like shoveled out with a spoon and like not really like even thought about. And in this one, it was like the intellectual part of my brain was like, wait a minute, they didn't really like tell me like how they figured things out.
And so that part of me was kind of like bugged, because I was like, what the heck?
Overall, I gave this book 4 stars out of 5. I thought it was a really fun read. I really enjoyed myself. The romance is great and very palpable tension. We love a good sexual tension in the room. It's great. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I think you guys would enjoy it too. And finally, the last book that I want to talk about that I read for my January wrap-up is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmer. This was the concluding book in the Cursebreakers trilogy,
and it was fabulous.
I loved this book. I read it in like a day, and it was totally worth every second. It was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. And so to give you my likes and dislikes about the book, things that I liked about the book, I really liked where she took the story. I thought that it was super interesting. I loved the character arcs. I loved the redemption arcs. I loved seeing development of people and how they developed over the course of the 3 books. I thought that they all like made really great strides in this one, and I thought that everyone changed so much in different ways. Things I didn't like the ending.
How dare you tell me how to parent my kid I just met?
She didn't wrap it up in the way that I wanted, and she didn't
She just didn't like wrap it up in that nice little bow.
It can't end like this!
And it just was an ending that I wasn't expecting. I wanted it to wrap up a little bit nicer than it did, and it didn't. And I'm like, I'm a little bit upset about it, if I'm being honest. But I'll get over it. I also really liked the writing. I thought the writing was really strong. I thought that the characters were well thought out. But I felt like she wrote accurately for her characters, and I felt like there was growth there within her characters' people. I felt like characters had like arcs, and I felt like that they had a great personality. I thought that we made a lot of new friends along the way, which I was really excited about. I'm really sad that this series is over, because I really enjoyed reading it, and I can't wait to see what she does next. But my overall star review rating for this book series is going to be 4.5 stars out of 5. I can't give it that 5-star rating because of how it ended. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this book series, and this book was great. It was a nice way to tie off the end of the book, but she just didn't tie the bow. And for that, I can only give it 4.5 stars. But I still recommend this book to everyone, and I think that everyone should read the Cursebreaker trilogy. It's fabulous. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and thank you for listening to my January wrap-up of all the books I read. I will link all of the authors and where to buy the books in the description down below, but I hope that you will continue to join me here on Live in Literature. Please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends if you want them to know more about books and the things that you might be reading or the things that I'm reading. But thank you so much again for watching. I'm so excited for this month's
Maas month. It's gonna be great.
This week I'm going to post a Sarah J Maas video on Friday, and I will continue to post Sarah J Maas videos throughout the month. Hopefully you find them interesting, or at least you'll be entertained. If not, thank you so much for joining me on Live in Literature, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!